First, I want to start my presentation with two questions. First is, can we use multimode waveguides to sensing? And the other one is, due to we're working with multimode waveguides, we have high order modes. So how high can this mode be? So there are two questions that want to overcome this presentation. So first, naturally, a question comes, which is why using these multimode interferometers, which are composed of multimode waveguides to sensing. But before that, I want to briefly give us some concepts about these kind of interferometers. Basically, the operation of them is due to the interference of many modes propagating through just a single waveguide. This is the main idea. So here's a distribution of our modes interfering each other in this kind of waveguides. We see here these brighter spots which represent constructive interference. So, but why? Why use it as a sensor? First, we have a compatibility with the electric waveguides. So we can use also photonics platforms to do these interferometers. We can also use it for fiber optics. Due to we are working just with waveguides, we have the possibility to miniaturization, so there's high condensity into just a single chip. Also, we have to take advantage of the evanescent field of this kind of modes, so we can use it also for sensing. And there is also many works reporting that you can have really high sensibility in order to identify this kind of variation in the refractive index. But you have also microfluidics integration and the surface functionalization to make your sensor more sensitive, more selective. And also we do really well with optical losses. But here's just a picture of our state of the art in terms of these sensors. In the last 7 years, there's an increasing number of publications based on this concept. So here a brief review of this kind of multimode waveguides. The literature, normally you have bimodal waveguides and trimodal waveguides, which support even two modes or 3 modes. Okay, but there is a question which arrives here, which how high can be this mode? There is a theoretical work for our group. We suggest that you can have a 4-order mode in order to have really high sensibilities. Okay, so that we propose here is just effectively excite this kind of mode that are 4-order modes in the silicon nitride waveguides. Okay, to use it as an optical refractive index sensors. Okay, so there is a mode profile here, so we are looking for, and we're trying to excite into this sensor. This is made by silicon nitride into that silicon chip. Okay, we have also a sensing window where we're going to test experimentally how this mode propagates and how this mode behavior into this sensor. Okay, this is our outline. Briefly, we're going to have a device description, simulation results, microfluidic integration, experimental results, sensor parameters, and our final discussion. Okay, further our description here, we have this area here, which is the responsible for exciting this kind of modes. We are making for directional coupling here. Okay, so we have 4 waveguides with the same width, and there is a directional coupling into this higher waveguide here, which is our multimode waveguide. And here it has a sensing area in order to evaluate our sensor parameter here, which is this air basically. Okay, and this is a photo of our chip and our sensors here. So first we made some simulations. We made some simulations in order to see numerically, what kind of mode you are exciting. So in our case, we are exciting a 4-order mode here, which represents almost 95% of our total power into this kind of waveguides. Exactly. So there's a wave profile again, and we also have 2 remaining modes here, the T mode, fundamental mode, and the 2nd-order mode, which represents also almost 5% of the total power. Okay, but this propagation of this mode, which is that we are looking for, only depends on the refractive index in the cladding that you have here. Okay, I mean, with air, you don't have any propagation of this kind of mode. But when you surpass this kind of this number of refractive index, you are able to excite this for other modes. So that is that results, numerical results. But we try to do it experimentally too. So this is our alignment for this kind of with air, okay. But we see a really low intensity at the output. But when we drop water here, so we are in this regime, we see how the intensity increases exponentially. So that is a demonstration that we have even numerically and experimentally we are effectively exciting this kind of mode. So we also made some integration for the microfluidics, okay. The microfluidic we make with PDMS in order to evaluate the sensor parameters here. Okay, we try to put our PDMS into this sensing window of our sensor. Okay, and in terms of experimental result, we work with red laser, okay, 630 nanometers. We make back coupling into our chip, and in the end, we just capture the intensity with CCD camera and lenses. Okay, this is how our output spot looks like, this with a CCD camera. To evaluate the sensor parameter here, we measure really low concentration of ethanol in water, just to change a refractive index of the sensing window. Okay, and we take pictures. In other words, we take pictures and capture and make an integration of all the intensity into them, and capture how this changes into these low concentrations. So here, evaluating this kind of slope, we got a sensibility almost 80 refractive index units, 800 refractive index units, and a really low limit of detection around 10 to minus 5 refractive index units. That means we can identify with the sensor changes in the 5 order of the refractive index changes. Okay, just briefly discussion here. We numerically and experimentally demonstrate that we can excite this four-order mode effectively, the four-order mode, okay? And we also have really competitive sensibilities and really low limited detections. But how do we measure that? We tested with, for example, a commercial refractometer here. We measure also the same concentrations that we worked in our sensor, and there is no a limit of detection reach. Okay, so our sensor is able to capture this kind of low intensity, but a commercial one no. Also, as I mentioned earlier, this kind of sensors have a miniaturization. So just compare the footprint area of a normal Mach-Zehnder interferometer used as a sensor. Our device can be 30 times higher in terms of density. And also the same idea with ring resonators. Thank you.